Welcome, teachers, seniors, esteemed guests, staff, and director overall, to our senior talk. I am Joseph Zamora of the class of 2016.
And I am Alan Chi, also of the senior class of 2016. Before we begin, I'd like to ask you all a question. Have you ever thought about how much trash we create each day? A person generates 4.3 pounds of trash each day. That means that in the US, we generate 1.4 billion pounds of trash per day. Per week, that figure is 9.8 billion pounds. Per month, that is 39 billion pounds of waste. And per year, we as a country generate 467 billion pounds of waste per year.
Wow, that's a lot of trash.
The reason we have given you these facts is because we have developed a great devotion to clean up waste from parks and canyons throughout our community.
So that is what we're here to do today. We are going to talk to you about our experience over the past few months. This experience has become greatly important to us because of how it's allowed us to put our concerns about the community into action. Before we get into the details, let's talk about how this all got started. To be honest, when we first started, we had no idea what to do. We thought we'd go to any random park and just start picking up trash. But thanks to the internet, we were able to contact San Diego Parks and Recreation, where we were connected to Kathy Costello, who gave us the information, list, and schedules we needed to embark on our journey.
During our service learning, we were able to help out communities in need and learned how a community can get together towards a single cause. This experience also gave us a chance to get to know some of the people in our community. The first day of our service learning took us to a Choyas Creek Environment Project. The location was at a ravine in the Choyas Lake area. Here, we learned an interesting law that states if an object, per se a shopping cart, is lodged into the ground and enough plant life has grown around it, it becomes a permanently affixed location for that item, making it illegal to attempt and to recover the cart. This was an interesting cleanup, to say the least. At first, we found our usual sorts of goodies, from wrappers to rims to bottles. But then, things got a little bit interesting.
Would anyone like to take a guess as to what we found? We found quite the assortment of clothes. Jeans, jackets, and sweaters galore. Even some tighty-whities that were all soaked and filthy. We spent a good half hour joking as to what would lead someone to leave a pair of tighty-whities in a ravine. Next, one of the other volunteers found what appeared to be a coyote skull. I wanted it for a neat keychain, but he must have had the same idea as he decided to keep it. Jokes aside, we were surprised by how much trash we found in this ravine. This opened our eyes to the world of trash disposal within our city and community. And we thought, how can we continue to help? A more interesting day took place on our fourth volunteer opportunity, which took us to a Famoso Slough State Marine Conservation Area, where we were tasked with taking out invasive plants which harm our native plants. As we were taking out these invasive plants, we noticed an elderly man in priest uniform come up to our group, consisting of us and some nearby college students. He then began doing what every priest does when in front of a large group and began preaching loudly.
Then, almost suddenly, he started thanking us for such generous work. And I quote, "Music can uplift those that listen. I hope I can do the same," he said right before he started singing Drake's Hotline Bling. "Ever since I left the city, You and me, we just don't get along. You make me feel like I did you wrong. We don't know if this was intentionally silly or not, but that really lifted up our spirits on such a hot work day. That personal experience truly shows the benefits of volunteering with the intentions of giving and agape love.
We also feel that this experience was important because how it made us become more outgoing. Beautifying various communities around San Diego, we learned to put in a hard day's work, taking out non-native plants and planting native ones, things that which we have never done before. As most people suspect, we are somewhat secluded gamers whose only connection to the outside world is school. We often lose ourselves in games such as Yu-Gi-Oh! And Fallout 4, which ends up taking most of our time on a daily basis. This is not such a negative thing, as we both had our fair share of epic moments during our gaming career, and have become much better friends from it. Although, a lifestyle such as ours does leave us over accustomed to our comfort zone, which we quickly learned about volunteering around San Diego.
We not only feel that this experience was important, but necessary. As two college-bound students, this experience gave us more valuable information than what we could have done left to our own choosing. We love that. Instead of doing your typical senior presentation, which many other schools would do at the end of the school year, instead, we were given the opportunity to experience a senior talk and live the life of giving, which in turn has given us so much than what we were expecting. The experience from our service learning project has given us many skills which without we would be walking into the future blind and unprepared. Many years ago, I never really liked to go outside into the vast and mysterious world. When I was 5 years old, I remember watching my eldest brother, Sal, play this beautifully written game named Halo. From there, all I ever wanted to do was play video games and eat all day until 2 in the morning. I have been doing this routine for over 13 years, believe it or not. So, going outside and meeting other people was a bit of a problem for me. If at any point I would get mad at a game, I'll go to my local park. Problem was that it was usually a mess, and it made me feel bummed out. It saddens my heart when I see Mother Nature work so hard for a park to grow and show its beauty to the world, only for humanity to throw its filth at it. I believe everyone should have an escape plan in case of anxiety and stress, and go to a happy place.
I agree. Everybody does need a happy place. When I would get frustrated with my family, which would happen quite often, I would take a downhill walk with my Chihuahua, Taquito, to a nearby park. He would run around frantically as if it were the first time he had ever seen so much grass. The tennis and basketball courts were always in use, which gave the park a live and active feel. I would often lay back, listen to music, sometimes even nap, which is how I got this fungus on my chest. You know, teen stuff. Unfortunately, the urban artwork was also pretty lively. I never understood that about parks. Parks are meant for family and relaxation. No one cares what club you joined. Everybody needs a happy place when home is feeling just a bit too hostile. And that park was my happy place. The reason we are passionate about this experience is because no one deserves to litter or scribble in your happy place.
Our original intent for this project was to clean parks, such as our neighborhood one. But to be honest, it evolved into more than that. We had put forth a good amount of time helping clean various areas within our city and community. Our goal at the start of this project was different than what it became a month into the experience. At first, our goal was very basic: pick up litter and paint walls. Within a month of volunteering, it became revitalizing deserted areas ravaged by invasive plants and mining hardened ground to plant essential native plant life, leaving a hopeful future for those deserted areas. This also means future parks for communities to come and simply get away. Now, we're going to show you a quick montage of what we have done over the past months. Enjoy.
Boy, we look good up there.
I agree.
Now, back to our talk. There were a few challenges leading up to the completion of our experience. Getting a ride every week was one, since neither of us could drive, legally or in real life. A ride every Saturday morning was not something everyone was willing to give, as we both have pretty busy parents working at all hours of the day. Our attendance to these volunteer opportunities was almost completely up to the mood of Alan's parents. We did consider public transportation, but the issue of money and our combined lack of direction quickly put hesitation to that plan. Not to mention, some of these volunteer opportunities were astronomically far away, the farthest being all the way by far the Juniper Sierra Trail. There was also the issue of schedules, although Alan is always free. I, on the other hand, am in charge of watching my siblings at home, so I had to make a schedule with my mother just to volunteer.
There weren't too many physical challenges we couldn't handle. After all, we are pretty manly men. Although we don't get out too much, when we do, it is usually to walk great distances for something we want, like the mall or food for less. Not to mention, at every volunteer point, there were snacks and water, so getting too hungry or too thirsty wasn't a problem. Learning to use the pickaxe was more fun than exciting, and we didn't mind standing and crouching all day, except for some few minor back pains.
One of our last volunteer opportunities truly tested our physical endurance. We were dropped off by the visitor center of a Father Juniper Sierra trail, where we quickly learned we had to walk the entire trail to get to the volunteer point. After an hour and a half of hiking, we arrived, tired, but still prepared to help. What? They asked us why we arrived a bit late, and they laughed when they heard we walked the entire trail. Turns out there was another visitor center on the other side of the trail, much closer to the volunteer point.
Still, we worked hard and toughed it out. At this volunteer point, we were shoveling mulch into a garden. Mulch mainly being wood chips with other natural materials, making it into a natural compost. From there, we took a walk of shame to the much nearer visitor center, where we rolled up, tried not to cry, then cried. Just kidding.
To our amazement, there were actually many people who volunteered at these opportunities that we went to. So we don't expect for there to be a sudden surge of volunteers, simply because we did. But we do hope we left an impact in the form of helping an underestimated threat to our beautiful, sunny San Diego. There is a literal flower kill, flower world out there we didn't know about less than 3 months ago. And the worst part is that just like women, some of the most deadly are the most beautiful. So people tend to keep them, even help them on their destructive path.
Good one, good. Yeah.
So people tend to keep them, even help them on their destructive path.
The impact we hope to leave is one of caution. Know your plants. Is a plant in your backyard helping or hurting San Diego's native plant life? Also, it wouldn't hurt to pick up some litter every once in a while, or even better yet, don't litter at all and educate the children. It's important to get educated on this. Even we were baffled by how many things we didn't know.
This experience really makes us appreciate those who volunteer like this every week, which there are. Getting up every Saturday morning and traveling quite the distance to do something that does not directly benefit you is very applaudable. I know that the park that I enjoyed going to growing up was thanks to people like that, putting in work every week with the sole intent to help. That is the definition of the agape love we were hearing so much about.
This experience has changed the way I see nature. I am now more aware of litter throughout the community, the importance of keeping our parks clean, and the effort volunteers put in on a weekly basis. I've also realized that taking care and keeping our community clean is something we should all be doing without being asked. Litter wouldn't even be a problem if everyone just opened their eyes and just stopped littering.
We created the opportunity for others to pick up where we left off. Most of the areas that we visited, we left with a clean slate. No trash, no non-native plant life, just fresh, beneficial plants to grow into the future. Others can continue to do what we did, or they could take a whole new direction. They can build a park, pave the way for a beautiful hiking trail, even create the newest teen hotspot with an outdoor diner or something. We don't know. We aren't very creative when it comes to things of this nature, literally, but the least we can do is leave a clean foundation for the future generations to work upon. And that is what we hope to do, to create a tradition which all can partake in.
Instead of leaving this task for a certain group of seniors or underclassmen, we are asking you, the audience, to commit to doing one small act that can help beautify our community. We are also hoping that our entire community is our call to action and that we can work together towards eliminating litter throughout the streets of Southeast San Diego. In all, our call to action to our community is simply help a little. If everyone helps a little, then so much could be done. And when I say help a little, I mean help a little.
If you were to walk home from if you were to pick up a piece of trash on your way home today from school, boom, that is it. That is all we ask of you. We know firsthand how much a large group of people can do if they're at least doing something. A lot of you youngins in the crowd have yet to fully achieve your mandatory community hours. But when the time comes to volunteer, I hope you make the decision to help a cause that could really use it. And who knows, you might be a singing priest as well.
We want to thank you all for coming to view our presentation. This concludes our senior talk.